Short notice bout. Dominic Cruz, we were supposed to be graced with his presence. Instead, we get Rob Font at catchweight, 140 pounds, I should say, against the undefeated Gene Matsumoto. Apologies if I mispronounced that first name, man, but this is an intriguing matchup. And the reason I say that is because all eyes, in my opinion, from what I have seen, all eyes are on Rob Font. Live dog, upset play. Give me your thoughts on that before we jump into it. Currently tracking out plus 130. I will have to say the opening odd on this one was something silly. Yeah, plus 155 for Rob Font. What'd you think of it?
It makes sense why a lot of eyes are on Rob Font, Derek. He's the more well-known name, right? We've seen him fight top-tier opponents consistently for the last, 2-3 years. Not many people know Matsumoto. I mean, you just messed up his first name, brother. I would do the same because I'm not going to say it because I don't know if it's Gene or John. But either way, we're going to know at the end of this weekend because if he's able to have a star-studded performance against a top-tier opponent that Rob Font is, I mean, we're talking about Rob Font being in title contention not just 2-3 years ago, right? Like, he is that guy, right? But he is also a little more one-dimensional, right? Than we've seen how the UFC MMA has evolved through this landscape. It does worry me as well. I mean, we saw last week, it proved us wrong, but worried. 37 years old, Rob Font coming in, short notice fight, catch weight. Like, how's that weight cut going? How are things happening? There's a lot of X's and O's that worry me about the Rob Font fight, but I do think he's more of a veteran. He's more skilled. He's going to be dialed in that night. Hopefully with the catch weight, he's not too lean, not too, dismantled going into it. But I can see why a lot of people are looking at Rob Font for the upset right here.
I don't like it though, man. I don't like that they're looking at him so much because it makes me feel like it's not as much of a value play as the people who are like in their minds are like, oh man, Rob Font, sneaky vet. You just beat up Kyler Phillips in your last one. You know what I mean? Like everybody is looking at him, and that's causing me to say when everybody zigs, you must zag, and that made me look at Matsumoto a little bit deeper because here's my problem, man. Matsumoto, his last performance wasn't the most impressive. I'll just say that. For like the pedigree of this undefeated guy who's supposed to be coming into the UFC and just shaking things up, like it wasn't as impressive as I thought. Brad Katona, you know what I mean? Come on, I'm just saying, right? But the point that I have here is that there's a real path to victory for Rob Font, like legitimately. Even though John Matsumoto is scary, he's undefeated, he's the young 25 years old, that's like kind of the problem right there. You need a little bit more experience, and if Rob Font can avoid getting taken down, I think that this is a very winnable fight. The problem is, I don't think that he will avoid getting taken down. I think that he will get taken down. I think all it's going to take is a clinch spot from Matsumoto or just a simple blast double to be able to take him down and just steal rounds. That's kind of it. Kyler Phillips couldn't do that because Kyler Phillips, that's not his game, right? A little bit different. But where Rob Font excels is outside range boxing and I would say movement. That's where he excels the best at. Will Matsumoto give him that based on your film study?
Will he give him the ability to keep distance and work range? I don't think so, Derek. I mean, the one thing I like about Matsumoto is he's able to control the range with his kicks, right? He distracts you with them, he gets it going. And then I do think with the ability or the style that Rob Font has, great boxing on the outside, but he likes to crash in, hit you with some combos, and then bounce out and use that movement to get lateral, to avoid things. Well, when you're crashing in on this young, fast striker who does hit really hard, has good boxing, good pressure, and a heavy right hand, it's hard to then exit and then use your momentum, right? I'm with you. I think Matsumoto has the ability to get the clinch going, bully him up against the cage, and use that youth and vigor to be able to dominate this fight. And if we get to the ground, I'm not confident that Rob Font can get back up. I do think he's going to be faster hands, more technical, able to read things and set up traps and find those moments to do some real damage. And as of late, we've seen that moments win fights in certain aspects. So I do see a path where Rob Font can win, but he needs to stay off the ground. He needs to stay off the cage and don't get controlled.
Picture perfect performance from Rob Font. Looks like sprawl and brawl round one, knock him out round two. That's like that's what I'm looking to do. That's the game plan. When you get punched in the face, whole thing goes out the window though, and things look a little bit different. So I will say my play is on this one because you have a battle of an experienced older boxer in the bantamweight division, but we'll call it 140 because that's what it is, versus the guy who's a specialist. And AJ, I talked to you last week about specialists. I said, hey, Calvin Kattar, this dude's got a solid jab. He could probably outgun the hybrid. Well, that didn't happen. Maybe a specialist doesn't have a place. But I think Matsumoto and his specialty in I'm going to get the fight to the ground, or I'm going to kick, I'm going to crash, I'm going to close the distance, I'm not going to let you box you up. I think that that's going to prevail here. I'm rolling with youth and vigor this week. John Matsumoto, either points or decision. Those are my two plays for you. But minus 155. AJ, am I crazy if I say that I'll bet minus 155 John Matsumoto?
No, Not at all, Derek. I mean, we've seen how exciting is a different word to use, right? Like his last fight wasn't that exciting, but the style that Matsumoto brings is very exciting. I like him at -155. Personally, though, I'm rolling with the underdog right here. I'm rolling with the veteran, the time-tested boxing skills, and the ability to know how to win a fight against somebody like Matsumoto. I like Rob Font. Also, plus 700 TKO prop to open all day long. That's his best way to win, right? Like Derek said, sprawl and brawl, get the TKO in round 2. I can very likely see that happening, especially when the young undefeated fighter finally meets some resistance, finally has that guy where he's sitting back thinking, oh shit, this guy's punches hurt. Like, why does he keep hitting me when I have normally the good defense going forward? That's when you find a knockout. That's when the ball starts rolling. I think it's going to be Rob Font.